All right, here we go, Riley.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
Man, I don't know about you, but I don't know if that was the Detroit Lions that we normally watch. It's been 9 games that the Detroit Lions, or 44 games that the Detroit Lions have scored a touchdown in every single game. And if it wasn't for the rookie Isaac Tesla, that record would have been snapped today. Just about everything that you could think of that went wrong or could have gone wrong did go wrong in this game. Some of you are going to blame Marcus Davenport. Some of you are going to blame the new coaching staff. You know who I'm going to blame? Everybody. This is one of those game tapes that you pull out of the VCR, you light it on fire, and you don't even watch it. Because there's nothing that you're going to learn. There's nothing that went well in this game for you to say, we just need to improve on this. We're going to listen to Dan Campbell and hear what Dan Campbell had to say. And I have to say that there's nothing that he can tell me that is going to make me feel any better about what we just witnessed in Lambeau. Hats off to Lambeau. Hats off to Green Bay. You guys played a hell of a game. You had this game circled on the roster since or the lineup since the schedule came out, and you were ready. The Lions were not. Let's see what Riley has to say about it. We'll be taking phone calls here momentarily. Riley, what's up, man? I know it's we've been together now for, 5-6 hours today, whatever it's been. Normally I have a ton of energy after a game because it's like we don't lose. And when you have a bad game, like what you said, even when you have a bad game or you lose a game, it sure as hell doesn't feel like this. Mm-hmm. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, I think I want to say first, I like what you just said. Start off, give Green Bay credit. They knew what they needed to do to win this game. They wanted to win this game. And make no mistake about it, we're going to talk about our frustrations where the Lions have fallen short, but Green Bay outplayed and won that game. So hopefully get these guys back on Thanksgiving. But, not even looking that far ahead. You got to get ready for week 2 in Chicago. Now I guess I'm just saying all the cliche coach speak things, but I mean it. This is a feeling that I haven't felt for, quite a while. Obviously the playoff game sucked, but it was still easier for me to kind of live with, the sum of the parts, kind of the whole process or the whole part of the organization, and feeling where the team was at and knowing change was coming, but still feeling really good about it. That's not gone for me, but this is concerning. There were some things that we saw today that make you realize. We talked about it all off season. They're probably not going to win 15 games again this year. You have to get used to dealing with losses again. And you're right. It's a very frustrating feeling, not just that you lost the game, but it's been a while since we've seen the Lions be manhandled. And that's what just happened. Green Bay just outclassed them and outplayed them today.
The manhandle is, that's a good word.
The
Lions did not even look like an NFL football team at times today. They did not look ready. This is not a team that. This is not what I expected. Let's just put it that way. I didn't expect for us to come out this flat. I expected. I expected for there to be some difficulty. Absolutely, I did. I expected us, to stumble at least just a little bit. But to play this badly, this just isn't. This didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's like telling somebody, "Hey, meet me somewhere," and then you're disappointed they didn't show up, and then you come to find out, oh, it wasn't that they just took a different exit and they're late. It's like, oh, they never even went out and started the car.
Yeah, did any of these guys even get out of bed today? How many didn't make it off the bus?
You still have Penei Sewell, you still have Taylor Decker, you still have. I mean, it feels to me that Green Bay just controlled the game in the trenches, and that offense just did not resemble a team with basically all their skill players back. It's weird. It's like they haven't played, and you don't just carry over year to year success. Like you show up and it happens, but it's unusual. I can't imagine that they weren't, well coached, that they weren't prepared, that they weren't motivated, that they weren't fired up, that they weren't ready. But what we saw was just hopefully not a sign of things to come, because they looked overwhelmed. Every time the ball was snapped, it was like they're trying to develop a play there's just not enough time. It felt like Green Bay had an extra player or two on the field.
I don't know about that. I mean, I was fairly impressed. I mean, I'm not saying like this whole extra player thing. Like, I was fairly impressed with the offensive line in the beginning. And then it just kind of slowly got worse and worse and worse to the point of it's like Jared Goff never played football before. I mean, you got to put some of the blame on his shoulders too. I mean, everyone knows how big of a Jared Goff supporter I am, but today just did not look like Jared Goff. Mm-hmm. It just looked like he was unsure about everything.
Yeah.
He didn't look comfortable back there. And I got to tell you, man, not having Frank Ragnow is huge. You heard how these guys spoke about him, or maybe you didn't, but in some of the, post media stuff or even some of the one-on-one interviews or the St. Brown podcast, you heard how important Frank Ragnow was to this team. He was the motor, is how they referred to him. Like, he was the engine of this team. Everything went through Frank. Everything. You now have Graham Glasgow, 12-year vet? I mean, he's played plenty of years in the league, and he's played plenty of snaps at center. I feel comfortable with that part of it. What I'm starting to see and realize now, and it'll probably settle down, but he's just not as good of a football player as I think you want right there. And this is exactly, we'll get into this. We're going to talk about the JMO bag. We're going to talk about something that I said that I was going to share in the post-game show only. But first, I got to stop for just a moment because I got to welcome everybody into the first inaugural post-game show of the Detroit Lions 2025 NFL season. And you guys are right here with Rockhound Detroit Lions, so I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your evening here. A lot of you probably aren't happy, and you shouldn't be. You should be disappointed at a minimum. But you're here with me. So you choose to rock with Rockhound Detroit Lions, and that's what we're all about here. We're just one big family, man. It's a big community of Detroit Lions fans. Some of us loyal Lion members, some of us not, but we're all the same. We're all the same. We're all fans of the team. And so what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to call Brad Holmes a bunch of names and, all that crap. No. Am I going to place blame? Yeah, I'm going to place some blame. Am I going to be unhappy about some things? Absolutely. But I'm not going to bring their mother, their kids, and their girlfriend and everything else into it. We're going to try to be adults about it. I'm downright pissed off about what I saw today. The air was deflated by like halfway through the second quarter. I'm like, this is going nowhere. I was not worried about Parsons. He was not affecting the game. He was in a handful of snaps. He got in, I think, the last, 4 or 5 defensive snaps of the game or close to that. He played more in the tail end than he did in the beginning, which was probably by design. He got a cheap sack. Goff running away to the sideline was, 2 steps away from going out of bounds. Didn't even know he was behind him. Goff, you've got to be able to look at the Jumbotron to see if someone's chasing you, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. You have to have the wherewithal to get rid of the ball.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But let me wind back because there was a couple of super chats already. Brett Rudisil says, man, I'm sitting here, my headache pounding. I'm watching the 313 in 1 year. Oof. The O-line crumbled. No pass rush, no sacks. This is why I screamed for an edge. Okay, I'm going to start with that. Appreciate the $5 super chat. It'll always go to a great place. I failed you guys. I didn't get any of my sounds lit up for today, so we're going to just deal with what I got. Let me address that. Okay, Edge. I know a lot of people are going to blame Edge. Aiden didn't do shit today. Didn't do anything. Aiden was terrible today. Marcus Davenport had a couple of stuffs. He didn't affect the quarterback, though. But neither did Tyleek. Neither did DJ Reader. Neither did Grant Stewart. Neither did Jack Campbell. Neither did Derek Barnes. None of them. Nobody. And you know what? When we didn't have any of those guys last year, we still manufactured pressure elsewhere. AG figured out a way for us to manufacture pressure. That didn't happen today. We weren't getting initial pressure, and then you're not even bringing the secondary option was to manufacture pressure. Our DBs couldn't hold with it or couldn't hang with anybody in the very beginning of the game. And then we lost Terry and Arnold in the beginning, like through the first half. So I hear you, but today was not about edge at all. Like that was probably the least of our concerns today. And the reason why I say that, and this is without me watching the game tape, I watched enough, I rewound enough times to go back and look at some of the plays. They were dropping guys like Aiden into coverage. They were dropping Davenport across the middle of the middle of the field into somewhat a coverage. What are we doing? That's an AG play that's going to get your guys fucking killed. Excuse my language. Right? That's how James Houston broke his ankle. That can't happen. That was the most boneheaded stuff I've ever seen. I want them to use these guys in a different way to bring the pressure from different angles, but that stuff is just silly. That's just silly to me. Riley, before I get your reaction, I apologize. There's one more in here by Jody. Jody says, maybe we need some guys from off the couch again. We played better with half of our defense injured last year. It's a great point, Jody. The guys get into the game. They want to hustle it up, right? They got some things to prove. And to both you guys, man, appreciate you. Jody, you've dropped like $50-$60 in the bucket today. So you are a super donor. I super appreciate you and everybody else. Riley, was today about the edge? Be honest. I mean, what did you see?
No, I mean, it's not about the edge any more than it was any other day of any other, time in my football fandom. It's an important thing. And it's not to, completely rip apart what you're saying there, Brett. And again, appreciate the super chat. But the Packers, to me, controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. This game, this was one of those games, and Will, you just alluded to it. Honestly, man, kind of somewhere in the second quarter, it was kind of like, it doesn't feel like it's going to happen. I kept saying, okay, hey, go get the touchdown now. Now you go get, and you're doing the math. But you can tell when you're watching a game when it's like, it just doesn't feel like it's in the cards. I would have been stunned if the Lions had rallied and won that game based off of how the game was going. They came out on offense, Gibbs, and it was weird. It was like he was hurt almost. I don't know what his situation was. Maybe that hit that Davenport gave him rattled him. I'm sure he'll be fine. Even the very best of players have bad games, but he just couldn't shake free. And the concern for me was more offensive than defensive. There wasn't any, it doesn't have to be exotic trick plays. There were very few. I don't think there was a deep shot. The throw to Tesla, that would have been great in the second quarter.
Yeah, right.
When
let me pause you there for a moment. What have I been screaming about for the last? You guys all been screaming about edge for 3 years. 3 seasons. I've been sitting in this chair and I've been saying, you get down to the 30 and no one's taking a freaking shot at the end zone.
Yeah.
What happens when we take a shot at the end zone?
How you throw it up and the ball's placed in a place where and the DB had no chance. The DB in that, I don't know who it was, but he probably told Isaac, hey, good catch, man. Like what could he do in that situation? That's a hell of a catch. But when you,
Well,
when
what
you-
I'm saying is we scored a touchdown.
yeah, you got a touchdown.
We got a
right?
touchdown. You go at the end zone, you get touchdowns. That's a funny concept to me.
Yeah.
Well, what else are we doing today? Dink, dunk, dink, dunk. Here, let's hand it off to to Gibbs 16 times in a row, or whatever the number is. Was way too much, not going anywhere. Stretch these guys out. You've got legit Ferraris sitting in the garage today. Why?
Didn't start.
Why?
You didn't. Yeah.
You drove the 1998 Cuddy today.
Took it around the block.
You know what I'm saying? Like you took it out for a couple of spins. It wasn't going nowhere. It kept camming out. But you had some Ferraris sitting there. You didn't do a freaking thing with either one of them. Gibbs, you should have had out wide. JMO, you should have had out wide. Tesla, you should have had out wide. And you should have started streaking these guys and gassing them. Get them tired. The more pass pro you do, yes, it sucks for the interior offensive linemen, but you gas those guys, you get them tired,
Get them
and
uncomfortable.
then there goes Amon-Ra, right? Just dunking over the middle. I didn't see him once over the middle today. Not once.
No, I think he had one reception in the second half, if I'm not mistaken. He had a good catch that it finally gave the Lions one of, if not their first down. And he was body language there. It's like, okay, he's here to lead, he's here to play, he's here to charge and fire the guys up. And it just didn't. The Packers did not score in the third quarter, and it showed Jordan Love on the sideline in the fourth, and he's just kind of talking to one of his teammates, and it's like, has he even taken it? Is that the backup? Because he doesn't look like it's like a boxer that didn't have a nick on his face. He just easiest half of football of his life in the first half, and that's when they did all the work, and they didn't. They could have won the game with just their 2-quarter output on offense. And it just is so frustrating because I did not see that coming at all. To me, it seems, I don't feel like I'm smarter than John Morton by any means, but it's inexcusable. You got to take at least one shot, man.
Yeah.
That offense that they were calling, it's been a few years since I've played Madden, but I used to play it and I'd get a lead with some, and people are like doing these little drag routes. I'm like, dude, that's fine with me because it's going to take the time. Like you're giving me like 20 cents to the dollar. It's not going to get you anywhere. And it's just so bizarre to see the Lions have that output on offense. And we'll have to kind of diagnose and figure out and get everybody's thoughts as to what caused it, why it happened.
Yeah. So we'll get to the O-line here in just a minute. Brett, I appreciate the other $5 donation. He says, can you guys talk about the O-line because it looks sad? Absolutely. We'll get into it here in just a few moments. I'm going to bring in some stats here in a few moments too. I want to talk about edge because I keep seeing Sedarius's name pop up. Sedarius had one sack in the last 4 games for the Detroit Lions last year. He had 2.5 sacks. So he joined the Lions just before the Indianapolis Colts game, right? Was it the Colts game? According to this stat line, he joined the Lions with the Indy game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games with the Lions. I thought he had a couple more games than that. I thought he joined in the Jacksonville game.
Yeah, I was going to say Jacksonville or Tennessee.
The Jacksonville or the Chargers. So either way, he didn't have a sack for the last 4 games of the season last year, and then he was only playing 15 snaps a game on average. So he's not the answer. He's not. He's only a third down pass rusher, and he's definitely not fast enough. If Aiden can't win, nobody can, right? That's what you guys think. If Aiden couldn't win today, tell me another pass rusher that could. That's available. None of them. None of them could. None of them can get through. And I can't wait to go back and watch the tape because someone in here said that they were actually double teaming both Davenport and Aiden, and that is the one thing that I said on the morning show the other day. Was that the pregame show today? That's the one thing that no offense will do, right? And then you have to send your linebackers if they do. Right? If you're legit double teaming both of our ends at the same time, that means you only have one guy in the middle, and we have that means that Tyleek or DJ Reader should have been free on every play.
Yeah.
Right? Or a linebacker and Tyleek is free, or a linebacker and DJ is someone's free. You can't double both of them. It's not possible. You can throw a chip over there, right? You can have a trailing tight end, you know, knock him on his release, but that, you know, chip him on his release, excuse me, but you really can't double these guys. You can't double both of them. Anyway, this is a piss poor game. This is a piss poor game. I am going to bring in some stats. We are going to take some phone calls in a minute. We'd love to hear from you at 313-312-0348. Give us about 10, 15 minutes. We'll go right at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in 11 minutes, we will open up the phone lines. And I want to hear it, man. Let us have it. Tell us how you feel. Let it all hang out. Here's what I was going to say earlier that I said I wanted to save. Now it's nothing crazy exciting, but I could have sworn I wrote it down. Told you I would forget.
Oh, it's all good. I just put that number up in the chat again, guys. 313-312-0348 when we open the phone lines here in 10, 15 minutes or so. We've been talking.
Okay. So you were talking about offensive line. So you wanted to talk about offensive line. And so the thing that I was saying earlier before the end of the show or before the end of the game is the reason why I have this big problem with John Morton up in the box. And you heard Dan, well, we'll be on the headset. And if you don't understand this, like I didn't really know this until this year. Dan can't talk to Goff through the headset. Only the offensive coordinator can be in Goff's ears. Only the defensive coordinator can be in the Mike linebacker's ears. You can't have both of them in the headset. I didn't know that. So whoever's calling plays, they're in the ear. Okay, so that's the worst part about it is this. What does Ben Johnson or any other offensive coordinator do when they're on the sidelines? When there's a timeout, when there's an injury, when there's a commercial, quarterback goes to the sideline, right? Who's there? The offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
When the play is over and the offense is now back on the sideline, who's there? Offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
What can't you do when your coordinator's up in the freaking box?
Communicate.
You can't communicate. You can't. So what can Goff do? He can pick up the phone and have a conversation, but what can't that coordinator do? He can't walk up and down the sideline and say, "Hey, blah 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 blah. This is what you missed here. Hey, this is what you missed here. Hey guys, come on, let's get in. Look at this play. This is what we're gonna draw up. This is what's going on. Let me tell you what's happening. None of that is happening. That is the most important thing that you can do on a freaking field during a game. In-game adjustments cannot happen with a guy up in the box. Because now you're expecting all of the guys around him, all the other assistants, all the positional coaches to communicate for you? How? They don't know what's in your head. And when someone's communicating back to you, well, then you might have an idea and things change. But you can't communicate that either because you're up in the box.
Right.
And there's only one phone.
Yeah. It's a phenomenon that if you tell one person a piece of information and then they tell somebody else, and by the time it passes through to 5 people, even if everybody's not trying to be deceitful, the information's going to likely change at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Communication is very challenging.
It's called the game of telephone, right? If I were to call Riley and say, "Hey, Riley, the sky's black today," by the time it got to the 30th person, there's no sky today.
Yep.
It's just no sky at all. So that's my biggest worry going forward. That is not my biggest worry necessarily of what happened today, outside of the fact that there was no real emphasis on in-game changes. Trying to correct something. So that is a big worry for me. Offensive line, man. Penei Sewell. What is the one thing I kept saying this offseason that I was worried about? You guys know I do nothing but stats, analytics, and I go deeper than just a stupid PFF sheet. Penei Sewell's pass pro sucks. He's not even ranked in the top 60 in the league. or top 45 in the league for tackles alone. That's a problem. The reason why you can get away with some of that is when you have an all-pro guard next to you and you're chipping someone off the backside and you have a guy like Gibbs who's fast as hell. We did no outside zone today. Wasn't working. No inside zone. We ran like three plays. Nothing worked. But Penei Sewell, his pass pro is not great for being an all-pro, for being a guy that is highly regarded as he is. He's still one of the best tackles in the league. But his pass pro is suspect. And if you don't have another guy next to you that can help you out, Ratledge is a rookie. It's going to take him a little bit of time. He's going to have his moments, all right, like he did today. They did a stunt, and Ratledge picked it up late. And what happened? Goff ended up going down. Now, if Goff would have saw it and just stepped forward, Ratledge would have been able to seal him off. But Goff didn't step forward. He just stood there and took it. So the baby broken giraffe legs, man, they weren't working. They weren't working today. I don't see, is the show on yet? Did they already do the post-game show? I see it. Oh, yeah, they already did it.
Wow, that was
quick.
Yeah, in and out, I guess. Jeez.
So let's we'll pause here. We're gonna go to the post game show for a moment. I at least want to hear what Dan had to say, and that's it. That's all that I care about is what Dan had to say, and then we'll get back into this and get Riley to say a couple of things because all I've been doing is motor mouthing the whole time. Give us just a second here. Oh, I don't know what I did wrong there. Sorry. Screwed it all up. Hold the phone. It was muted. That's what it was. Let me fix this. I had it set up for a different way, but I forgot the audio doesn't come in that way. The minute I started screwing with this stuff, man, it all went haywire on me. I'll get it fixed though this weekend or this week. All right, let's take a listen to Dan Campbell. Apologize here. We'll have this righted in no time.
Your best. We didn't. That team played well.
All right, here we go.
All right. Well, look, man, that team played well. Credit to them, coached the floor, and they came out and they played outstanding. And we didn't play good enough. We didn't coach good enough, including me, and we didn't play good enough. So, like I told.
First thing I said that he was going to say is that he needed to coach better. Am I right? Am I right? Riley, you should be back in here now.
The team, it's it's tough, to go in and not certainly play close to your best game. And you hate starting the season out with a loss, and as bad as that is, it's not what it appears to be. So it's like I told them, let's clean up the tape. We made some critical errors at the worst times possible.
Clean up the tape. Burn that tape and don't even watch it, Dan. It was terrible.
And you don't do those. You take those out of the equation, and it looks different. You feel like it's going to be a totally different scenario. But we did make those critical errors at the worst time. So, man, we're going to learn from it. We'll clean it up. It gives us a little barometer where we're at, game one, and that's okay. It's always about improving no matter what. So we're going to take it, and we're going to improve.
And offensively, I think it was one play over 20 yards today. What were they doing that was kind of taking that part of your offense away?
Yeah, well, we knew they play deep coverage, man. They play a lot of cover two. They'll play some three buzz. They And they keep everything in front of them. That's how that defense is designed. And so we knew that, and the plan was to stay patient, be patient, which I thought golf was. We took what was there and felt like eventually those shots would show. Just couldn't quite get to them. By the time you get a chance, or you hope you do, you're down, 2 scores. So that's the nature of this defense, and. Just we weren't able to generate 7 when we got in the red zone. That would help,
Dan, certainly you expected there would be some growing pains, perhaps with a young offensive line and 3 new pieces in the middle there.
Yeah.
What do you think was the biggest issue today with just the entire game up front on offense?
Well, I think really we just never, if you're talking about the 60 minutes of offensive football, we really never got in a rhythm. We did for a couple of drives, man, where we got it down there and then we didn't finish. We weren't able to finish with 7. We had to settle for 3, then we have an interception. But other than that, we just never really got in a rhythm. And when your run game's not quite clicking the way you want it to, and then that affects your play pass, and now you get in that type of game, you're down 2 scores. Well, those guys are going to pin their ears back, and that's hard on any offensive line. And on top of that, you got a defense that's going to keep everything in front of them. So, you get in a bad way. So.
With these changes, the changes that you're going through, do you feel like you'd be more prepared for this opener than
I'm pretty sure that it's their audio that is all messed up. By the way, it's not me.
Yeah. I thought we would be. I thought we'd be cleaner than we were. I thought we'd be much cleaner than we were, and it wasn't as clean. But there again, you're talking about a few plays that were critical. But like I told the team, these are so correctable. Everything that showed up is so correctable, and we'll hit it head on. Our players are accountable, man. They're ready, and nobody takes it worse than they do. So that's the good news. We got the right dudes.
I know you said it's not what it appears to be. Some of the biggest questions I think people on the outside have are some of the things that rear their heads today, though. The personnel, I guess, on the offensive line are all playing so much pass rush. Where does your confidence come from that this is just
Well, look, this is the same thing we ran into with AG and Ben. I mean, in 22, we remember we started 1-6. I mean, I think people are asking me to fire Ben at 1-6. So look, it took us a while to get our feet, man. So to get our bearing, but you learn every time you go through these and you work together and you find the right flow and you do it collectively, you do it together. And like I said, man, the more those 5 play together, we got 2 young guards, but the more they all play together, the better we're going to get. These are real reps against other opponents, and you get a full game, and man, you go and you teach off of it, and you correct it, and you learn from it, and you move on. Yeah, he's got looks like he's got a bit of a groin right now. Don't know how it was enough to not come back, so we'll see.
that impact this player when 2 play touchdowns, maybe got beat out a couple.
So I'm sorry.
Did that impact some of his play early? He got beat out a couple of that 2 play touchdowns.
I don't know. Not that I know of. I mean, I don't know when it necessarily happened.
From a defensive standpoint, what do you feel like Green Bay did to control last year's pass rush?
They did a good job of stepping up. We did some things where we sent inside interior pressure, and I know that there's a few times I thought they did a good job of bottling it up. And if you can hit some of that stuff head on, especially your halfback will go up and take on the backer. You can get bottlenecked in there, and that happened a few times. So we got out of it, and then just tried to do some straight rush here and there, and they nudged the edges. They made sure they hit Hutch. They weren't going to let Hutch just go one-on-one. Which he knows that too. I mean, that's the world he's in, man. He doesn't get one-on-one. So yeah, we got to be better. We got to be better. We got to be better. And when you get a one-on-one, you got to win your one-on-one. No, you're good. Yeah, he's better than that. He knows better. He knows better. That was the message. You know, he knows better than that, man. So it's one of the things we talked about, man, keeping your head. So he knows better.
Beyond the last, not just the last half of the off, do you think Michael Parsons impacted the game substantially, mediumly?
No, I mean, look, when he comes in, he's a good player, you know. But I thought all of those guys up front played pretty good for them today. I mean, they created a lot of pressure, and there was a lot of movement. You know, but look, he's only going to get better, more in shape, and it's only going to get better for him.
Dan, you guys have the Bears and Ben Johnson coming in next. What do you think will be different about facing the head coach where both you guys just know each other so well?
What I think will be different, I don't, you know, I don't know. Haven't really thought much about him. Certainly I will now that we're about to get ready to play. But I think he's going to be who he is, and I'm going to be who I am, and we play ball. Let the players roll it out there and let them go, you know.
Just wanted to ask about one more day from the third downs early. It seemed like you had chances to go field and you tried to open everything. Rushing 4, rushing 6, some places you just couldn't do it. How impactful was that to sort of snowball?
Well, I thought they had a good plan over there. You know, I did. I thought they had a really good plan, and that doesn't take away from us not doing what we need to do. But you know, they had some early answers, and you know, we made some adjustments, settled in the second half, did some things to give us a chance to get back in it, and then we just couldn't generate enough offensively. So there again, man, we got to be better. We got to be more precise in what we do when we run the games, when we run some of these pressure packages, and then if it's not, and we're rushing 4, whoever's got the one-on-one's got to find a way to win, you know. And we'll, like I said, we'll look at the tape and figure out what it all looks like. I can't tell you the entirety of it all right now.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Your prior success has put you there.
Pretty uneventful. Pretty uneventful. So we had good audio. I don't know. Would that last a week? And now we don't have good audio back in the room? Pathetic, man.
It is bizarre with the billions of dollars that this sport and organization and business generates.
Yeah, it's bizarre because you know what? I have a $600 machine here that has better audio than what they've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do 4 mics with it, and a set of Bluetooth mics would fill that whole room.
Yeah.
What the hell? I got to grab something to drink, Riley, but here's what I want to do. People want to talk about Parsons. We're going to talk about Parsons, and we're going to talk about the O-line. So you pick one, you start talking about it. I'll be right back in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say there was a few comments. Jay Cruz, and I'd like for you to clarify with, was your Colin Campbell an actor, which again, you know, absolutely entitled to your opinion. I just hadn't never heard you in the chat or any in the morning shows, you know, mention that you weren't a fan of Campbell. I don't know if that's a new opinion or something you've had for a while. So I'd like your answer on that. But man, that's it's a dejected Dan Campbell, which you'd expect after a loss. But I can't help but mentally compare and contrast to the things he said after the week 1 win last year, where he said, you know, the Rams were prepared in that game, and he said, I was going to tell the guys whether we won or lost that, you know, they got what they needed out of that game. Obviously, you want to win the game. This was a lot more, and granted, they didn't lose a lot last year, but this was like the hey, we got the right dudes. We got, you know, nobody cares more than these guys. We just got to coach better. It's like, but I'm just not used to hearing those. It's weird. It's a weird day for, you know, and it's what happens when you lose football games. It's probably not that big of a deal. If they come out and beat Chicago next week, you start feeling good again. But Dan Campbell seems a little more, you know, concerned than he normally has been.
I don't know if concern's the right word. He just seemed a little bit out of energy. Here's what I will say. One, let me help you guys out with some ads here. I see it's kicking people's asses. So let me dial back some ads for you guys. He said no rhythm. And here's what I'm most worried about. So not scoring in the red zone. You left 14 or 12 points on the board in the red zone at a minimum. Those have to be touchdowns. And that is play calling. No run game today. Not sure why. It was the wrong run calls, right? They didn't do enough to even put themselves in the right position to win. Dan, if you knew the freaking Packers play this defense that has you playing in front, playing a little bit of zone here, why didn't you eat it alive like we always have in the past? That's my biggest question out of this post presser here is, if you knew, then why didn't you do something different? The biggest question that I had this week, which I didn't talk about because we really didn't do gripes and hypes, was that if the Lions have a bad season and Dan Campbell looks like maybe he can't figure it out, is Dan Campbell going to be exposed that maybe it was the coordinators that were doing all the work? I don't know. I never thought about that before. I don't really think that is the case. I really don't. I think that Dan Campbell is the reason why this team is who they are.
I would agree with that. Although, yeah, it is interesting to think, because if we said all offseason, hey, this wasn't Ben Johnson's offense. Yeah, he had his fingerprints on it, but this is Dan Campbell's off. What we saw today, again, it just was like they assembled, pieces. There was no continuity, it felt like, with the team. And maybe it was just, we'll talk about the offensive line, which to my eye, I agreed they were just overwhelmed. And then when that's not working, it's like a flat tire on a car. You can move, but it doesn't do it efficiently. And it felt like Goff had no time today.
Yeah, he did fire Lynn, Jack, and I see we got the trolls in the house, which it's fine. There's some skull bandits in the house. There's some Packer slime in the house. I mean, there's all sorts of people in the house. It's all good. We appreciate you. We don't go to your channels and talk shit, but just remember, I get it. It's your first win in a long time. You're feeling good. And enjoy it. Like we said from the very beginning of the end of this show, or the end of the first show, was, hats off to the Packers. They had a good plan. They executed. They played well, but it will be short-lived. I mean, as much as it's going to be doom and gloom today, and there's a lot of people upset today that are Lions fans, this is how the Lions start every year. We just usually win. We look bad, but we usually win to start the season. And then once it starts to get hot, you can't shut it down. I mean, to the tune of tuning up teams, 46-6, 42-6, 49-9. I mean, there was 3 games last year where there was teams that didn't even score a touchdown. We happen to be one of those teams today. Oh, wait, no, Tesla scored an amazing touchdown today. That's probably going to be the best catch all season long. So at least that came out of the deal. But it's not what we care about. We don't care about those things. We don't care about individual stats. We want to see wins. Here's what I'm going to say about the O-line. Mike Parsons, 21 snaps today, 2 pressures, 1 cheap sack, Goff run into the sideline. Is that worth $2.74 million per game? Is it? You're paying over $1.5 million. You're paying $2.74 million per sack. You're paying $1.35 million, $1.375 million per pressure. That's pathetic. That's absolutely pathetic. Parsons was not any sort of a reason as to why the Packers won this game today. The cheap sack did nothing. The play was blown. I mean, it was dead. There was nobody open. The ball wasn't going to be thrown. So it is what it is. You got Parsons. Good luck. It's just one player. What you don't have now is you don't have a first-round pick for the next 2 seasons. So when Parsons doesn't work out, or Jordan Love doesn't work out, or Matthew Golden doesn't work out, or somebody else doesn't work out, you don't have a way to fill the pipeline because you don't have anything to leverage. That's exactly what Brad won't do. And that's why the Lions have all the leverage in the world right now that if there is a serious issue on this team, this is exactly why Brad has done what he's done. If there's a serious issue on this team over the next 2 or 3 weeks and they need or must go get a center or a left guard or whatever, right? We have the cash and the draft cap to go get it and trade with anybody in the league. That's why Brad Holmes is the smartest GM in the league. And you can't spit more facts than that. So Parsons didn't do anything today that was, any different than he's ever done, but he's really never had great success against the Lions anyway. He had a better game in 2023 than he did today. Our defensive line looked terrible. They just did. They did not look good at all. They couldn't find pressure. And again, to whoever in the chat said that both ends were being double teamed today, I can't believe that. I didn't see that. But I can't believe that, quite simply. There might be some chips going on, but we would have had somebody free. And so if they were double teamed, then oh my God, then we do have some bigger problems. If our guys couldn't win a rep to get in at all, period. We had too many guys on that side of the football that can get after the quarterback that didn't. Let's give you guys a quick stat breakdown. And phone lines are open, by the way. Let me make sure the audio's on. I didn't hear it a minute ago. I don't know why I didn't hear it.
Was there when I was testing, or did somebody call?
No. I think when you called, I didn't hear it. But the phone line's open. Let me pop the phone line into the chat.
Yeah, give us a call. There's quite a bit of activity in the chat. Anybody's welcome. Call in if you're a Bears fan, a Packers fan, a Lions fan. We just appreciate you being here. Yeah, man, it's my mind's in a lot of places. Is again, just a really rough day for Lions. Not one that I saw coming in. Again, it's just we're not slappies here thinking the Lions are going undefeated and they can do no wrong. They didn't meet the expectations that I think any of us have for the team this year. And it's a place that this team has. They've been there. It's weird. It feels like like Campbell mentioned, being 1-6 at one point. They've been in a dark place. They've been in a having to crawl out of it. You just you got to figure out how to get it done. And it's not a spot that you thought you'd be.
We got a caller coming in. Give me one sec. You've reached Rockhound Detroit Lions. Who do I have on the line? Oh, Tim Brandon. Hey, what's happening, man? How are you? Good. Can you hear him, Riley?
I'm going to switch over to YouTube so I can hear him.
You can't hear him when he's talking right now? Brandon, say hi. Or Tim, say hi. You should be able to hear him. Can everybody out there hear him or no? You guys can't hear him. Okay, that's interesting because we just tested it and I thought it was working. I think we have another guy calling, but we got to do one at a time. So whoever's calling from the 226 number, you just got to give us a call when I'm done with this one. Man, why is it not working? That doesn't make any sense.
We'll get that figured out. Everyone's giving us some feedback. Appreciate the responses, chat. But yeah, we'll get it worked out, and absolutely love for you guys to call in and talk with Will and myself, and let us know your thoughts. And in a way, it's a therapy session. We'll figure this out together, and be ready to go. And hopefully, this time next week, we're celebrating a win.
1 second, Tim.
Vincent says he respects that you guys can do this after a day like today. He would be throwing stuff. Yeah, it's Yeah, it's a tough one, but it's football, man. It's the wins feel so good because the losses feel like this. That's okay. We're good. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I'm at a loss right now. Tim Brandon is on the line with us. Tim, let me know. Tim, just start telling us whatever it is you want to say right up front. Let me check YouTube while you're talking and see if I can hear it.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much just like just to piggyback off of what you said, like there was a lot of things that can be cleaned up. I feel like Morton, with the play calling was just off. It was a lot of long developing plays, and I think trusting that the interior line, which hasn't played together in real live action, would be able to hold up. I think Green Bay had a game plan and wanted to execute it, and they knew what the Lions were trying to do. The Lions wanted to run up the middle. We all have been saying it. We said it, on shows and on Twitter and everything. We're going to run up the middle because they lost Kenny Clark. We're going to run right at Parsons. We're going to run behind Sewell. And and they had a game plan, and I feel like the Lions didn't have a secondary game plan when that wasn't working. And then, it was a lot of just dink and dunks and not taking shots. But again, the Packers played perfect defense. They weren't going to allow the Lions to take shots deep. Defensively, I think Jordan Love got the ball out pretty quick on several plays, especially on some of them long shots. So the pass rush was really negated anyway. And the secondary just looked a little lost at times. I'm not a fan of dropping Davenport and Hutchinson into coverage on third and, whatever. I don't think that's really any defense should be dropping your number one and number two guy into coverage, but it is what it is. I really just think the Lions just came in. They looked flat. They looked like they felt that they were going to walk into Green Bay and just own the game. And we've seen that a couple times, and we've seen it get cleaned up. So those are my thoughts.
Well, I think they're all great thoughts, man. I think that, everything that you just said, you hit right on the head. So Tim Brandon is a coach out in California. He coaches football, and he's got a really good, I obviously head for this stuff. You could hear him, Riley?
Yeah, yep. They'd have picked up, and I saw a lot of people in the comment too, and YouTube.
And so, Riley, so Tim, can you hear Riley talking right now?
Yeah, I can hear both of you.
Oh my God, we've finally got it beat. I hope we don't have any echo going on. But anyway, so yeah, here's my thing tonight, Tim, and I missed part of what you said, but my biggest thing tonight was just they looked dysfunctional on offense. They looked like they haven't played in this offense before, from a coach saying that we're going to keep just about everything and there's going to be a few new wrinkles added in. And, of course, we're going to add our own, things to it. Calls are going to be different. Verbiage is different. Well, how come you couldn't do anything? Why didn't we take any shots? And then you finally take a shot. Tesla grabs one of the best catches I've ever seen. It just doesn't make any sense to me. For the very outset of this game, it was Gibbs, but we were getting nothing. Why didn't you just turn and get somebody else involved? I guess I can't wait to watch the film, because that's maybe going to tell me that all of our receivers were bottled up, and that would be the first time ever that all of our receivers have been bottled up. And if that's the case, the Packers just laid the blueprint for the rest of the season for every other defense. And that's what worries me.
Yeah, and despite we went into the game and hey, Hobbs is out for sure. No, we were not underestimating Green Bay. I really don't feel like we were. They're a good team. The Lions are a good team. They just weren't even close to being the better team today. And I agree with Coach Tim that there wasn't a second plan in place. And I can't believe the offense just being so, whatever the routes were on the outside, we can't always see them on TV, but it was just, okay, the guy's going to go do a little underneath stick route just as the, final option if nothing else is open. And Green Bay just kept saying, sure, take it, man. It doesn't bother us. And you got nowhere until, again, you take a shot with Tesla. I would have loved to see that somewhere earlier in the second quarter, but too little, too late. The game, I don't know when it was really over, but honestly, Green Bay had this game in control for probably more than half the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you saw it. They dominated both sides of the ball in the trenches, and that's what we talked about the last time I was on was it's about running the ball.
Robert, that was something Will was talking about earlier with Morton. Says
right, Riley, he was talking. You couldn't hear him or no?
Oh no, I'm sorry. Was I talking over?
You can't hear Tim talking?
I can't anymore. But if I switch to YouTube, I can. I'm sure.
Oh, well, I thought you could hear him just a minute ago. You couldn't now? Okay. And my audio sounds, I guess, like I'm in a vacuum. Go ahead, Tim. Sorry about that.
No, I was just saying, like Riley said, we got dominated on both sides of the ball in the trenches, and like we talked about, football will always be about being able to run, and I think that's the Lions' bread and butter. And and we've seen it a lot, when they can't get the run established, I feel like they panic a little bit. And we saw it, again, I don't think it was necessarily the receivers getting bottled up. Again, we got to watch the film and see exactly how it was, but just watching it live, it felt like Goff, it was a lot of waiting for the receivers to get depth, and they were looking to take shots. It just wasn't there. Green Bay played off. Football will always be about being able to run, and I think that's the Lions' bread.
Sorry about that. Something just totally interfered. Keep going.
But yeah, I think Green Bay, like I said, had the game plan of, hey, we're not gonna, especially after J-Mo's contract extension. I'm sure there was some talk about, hey, let's take some shots with him, and they weren't gonna let anything get past them. So let the Lions dink and dunk it and try to get yards like that. We'll come up. They had a great game plan, and they were sound. They weren't getting juked. They were coming up, and they were swarming the ball. They were. It felt like there was 5-6 guys at the ball every time a Lions player got the ball.
Absolutely. Tim, I want to carry on this conversation the next time we have a game. Here's what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to try to fix this real quick. I'm going to take the next caller, and we'll get at with you this week. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Tim. Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, give me just a few minutes here. I want to try to transition from taking this call. Yep, give me 1 second. Someone's calling in. Give me 1 second. I want to try to transition from taking this call from my computer to my phone.
Yeah, as you're doing that, what Tim said, that resonates with me because, man, I just there was no such little. I'd have to pull the stat to see the yak, but it didn't feel like the Lions had hardly any. Right, there were a couple.
No, I don't even know. I don't even have that open just yet. But here's what I want to do. Whoever was just calling, go ahead and try again. Or B's 9, if you were just calling, go ahead and try again. And I want to see if I can take this from my phone as opposed to through the computer. Can you hear me? Hello, this is Rockhound Detroit Lions. Can you hear me? I don't hear anything.
I don't either.
I hear nothing. I hear something on the back end, but I don't know if they can hear me. Okay. All right. Give me 1 more second.
And Nick P says he'd call in. He's got some thoughts, but we'd love to hear him, man. If you understand, if you got to put the kiddos down to bed, that's priority number 1. But if they fall asleep early, we're still rolling and taking calls. Call us or type them out. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, this is Rockhound Detroit Lions. This is Will. Who do I have on the line?
This is Jody.
There we go. So Jody, I can hear you. Can everybody else hear Jody?
Mm-hmm.
You can. Do you have YouTube on, Riley?
Yeah. Well, I heard her through our studio.
It should be through your headphones.
Yeah.
Okay, Jody, so what's up? How are you? Thank you for all the donations today. How's it going?
Oh, no problem. I save up for special games, and this was definitely one of them. So I was happy to do it.
Appreciate it. Thank you much.
Well, I was just thinking about, there's not a Lions fan alive right now who's not bummed out about what happened today. But I'm just wondering if, I'm sure some of us are, but I'm worried about the game next week. I feel like if we do not do well against the Bears, that's really going to be a bad mark. I don't know. That was really all I wanted to comment on. It's not really a question. I'm just wondering what everyone else thinks about that.
Yeah, no, that's. I think that's probably all on the forefront of our minds is, what is going to happen next week, and what if, Ben Johnson obviously is going to take a lot from this game and figures out, hey, I see something that the Packers just did to the Lions offense. Well, now we're going to try it. And what if we haven't fixed it? Here's the one thing I'll leave you with, though, because you're worried about it. What if we intentionally went in with this vanilla scheme because maybe, just maybe, week 2 was way more important than week 1? Maybe we didn't want to show anything today.
It's so funny. It's so funny because one of the things I felt like, now I know this wasn't the case, but I felt like when I was watching today was a team that purposely lost. And I know that's not what they did, but it felt like that.
Right.
Yes, I agree. There might have been a little bit of that going on, but I know they didn't purposely lose, but anyway, I just wanted to call in and express my worries. Like, we can't lose against the Bears. No way.
Nope. FTB all day and 10 times on Sunday, Jody. Appreciate your call. Appreciate your support.
Okay.
Thank you so much
No
for calling.
problem. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, I know. Look, I'm really stretching that one, Riley. I'm really trying to stretch that one.
I appreciate the effort, though.
Yeah, we got another call. Here we go. Rockhound Detroit Lions. Who do I have on the line?
Yo, what's going on, guys?
What's happening? Who am I talking with?
It's Rob Is.
Rob, hey, yeah.
Might recognize me from the chat.
Yeah, the thing is I don't know who's calling because, well, 1, I don't have anyone's number stored, and 2, it just comes up as my podcast calling me. So I apologize. Yeah. So what's happening, man? Appreciate you.
Not much. I got out to Trace and Brandy and J. Cruising, UMD, U of M.
Yep, U of M Dad.
Just my thoughts here, watching the game from start to finish. I really don't understand why we didn't run Montgomery more at the beginning of the game to kind of soften up that front end of the defense there, lighten up the box, punish those D linemen and linebackers. This helped set Gibbs up, fire out that box and set up Gibbs for the explosive runs that we've known him to do last year. I think that would have been very beneficial for him.
Yeah.
I also think the defense played pretty well for most of the game. I think the O-line, we just got beat up in the trenches, and it's going to take a little pushback. Getting McNeil back is definitely going to help with that. It was Tyleek's first game, so, he's just getting his wheels under him. And Alex Anzalone dropped that ball. He doesn't usually drop balls like that in his hands, so I think it's just a little bit of unluckiness. I think the offense was vanilla, like you said earlier, definitely vanilla. I think our DBs didn't play horrible, but they definitely could have put a better showing together.
I would have to agree with all of that. I think the DBs were getting torched early, and I'm not sure why. They looked.
I think
they looked so out of sync.
Settled in the second half of the game.
Yeah, that's the one thing about week 1, man, is there's a lot of things that have happened with just about every game this weekend. that you're going to watch. If you go back and watch every game this weekend, every team is they're having something go wrong. And the ones that aren't, well, maybe they're just a little bit more prepared today, but maybe their ceiling is a little bit shorter than ours, right? Our ceiling is a lot higher than. We have a long way to go, man. We have a very sophisticated offense and defense that once it gets cooking, it's hard to stop. We just need a little bit of time to get warmed up.
Absolutely. The only other thing I really want to touch on is that interception by Jared Goff. People might look at it and say Goff just made an impulsive throw, but what people have to understand is we hit St. Brown for 3 third-down conversions consecutively before that. So the DB just read St. Brown and played the man. They didn't care about the route he was running. They just dove underneath the ball, and it just happened to be perfect time for the pick. I don't put that on Goff. Play caller made the play, gave him the hot route. That's what was open, and then it wasn't. So hats off to the DB for making that pick. Sucks it happened on Jared Goff at that time, but if you continually do the same thing over and over and over again, the defense is going to respond. And that's what happened in that situation.
Hey, I think you're spot on, man. I think you're absolutely spot on. And sometimes it's easy just to blame the quarterback for every little thing that they do, but sometimes you have to give the hats off to the defense. It was a great read and react play. And like you said, and I don't know the exact plays, but I'll trust you on this one that if we hit St. Brown for 3 in a row that way, of course he knew something was going to be coming. It's the same thing that happened to Hendon Hooker in his, that crazy interception was at the Dolphins game, or that was the third game. I can't remember, but same thing, man. We kept peppering that out route, and he knew it was coming. It's something that we've been doing. You'd hate to
At the end of the day, I tap my hat off to my boys. Go One Pride. You guys keep doing what you're doing. You guys put out great content, and I love it. I watch you all the way out from Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm born and raised in Windsor, Ontario. You keep doing you.
Yeah, brother. You too, man. Appreciate you as always, Bees. Take care.
Have a good night.
You too, man.
Awesome. That was a great phone call.
Yeah, no, he hit it spot on. Clearly was able to watch a little bit more than what we were. It's man, phone's lighting up. Here we go. We got another one. Rockhound Detroit Lions. Who do you have on the line? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up? It's Wick.
What's happening, Wick? How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. So what did you see tonight?
Execution.
1,000%. 1,000%.
All levels. There was no execution whatsoever. Now, I am a little worried about our guards. I think there may be a little bit of vanilla helping them, if that makes sense. And yes, they're going to get reps and they're going to get better going along, but I'm questioning that. I don't know what your thoughts were on that, but
well, yeah. So let me expand on what I think you're saying. So with the vanilla scheme that maybe is in currently for the guards to kind of get their feet underneath them, the inside zone running scheme or even the outside zone running scheme, it's not an easy scheme to learn, and having to get those pulling guards up into the second level is not even any easier. I mean, these guys have to know where to be. Graham Glasgow is not a pulling center, right? He's not like Frank Ragnow. He was so agile to get up and get into that second level and get up inside the chest of those linebackers. We don't have that anymore. And so we might have lost a huge dynamic of this run game without Frank Ragnow in the game, which means those guards are going to have to make up for it. And right now, what I think to what you're trying to say is if there's just a vanilla scheme in, it's helping them by not having to do much. But what happens when we need to do more? That's a great point, right? So, yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
I definitely it's a little scary. Sorry, so was somebody else going to talk there?
There was another caller, but keep on going. What else is on your mind?
Whoa.
What's that?
That was weird.
What happened?
I'm gonna say this to his.
Yeah, hold on. Are you still there?
Yeah. That was just cutting out really bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
roll
yeah.
it.
No, I think I'm not sure. I know golf will clean his stuff up for sure.
Yeah, I
but
believe that too. But what else? What other? I mean, what else did you want to add to that? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
The linebackers.
yeah, go for it.
The linebackers. Yeah, I think the linebacker play was a little bit. The middle field was wide open, and I don't know what happened there. If they were rushing, blitzing, or I don't know. There was a lot of miscommunication too. I don't know if y'all caught that, but I caught that between Branch and who was on that side?
While you're thinking of that,
I don't
Wick,
remember who was on that side.
yeah, while you're thinking of that, for the next caller, please just wait one moment until this caller is done, and then we will take the next call. Miscommunication. I absolutely do agree that there was some miscommunication, especially when you see DJ Reed running clear from the other opposite of the other hash, all the way down the field, right, to help with Terry and Arnold. Where was the safety? That was a huge play. It's like a 50-yard play. Huge play. It can't happen.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I think there was a communication problems between Branch and Reed. I think that's who it was that I was talking about. It was on a slant, and he ended up open because Branch told somebody to cover him, and then he went another direction, but then nobody covered him. And I caught that, and I can't remember where it was. But so miscommunication, execution, and I think the guards. I think those are real pivotal points that are being talked about right now as we speak.
Yeah, I would agree, man. There's those are probably the biggest points, but I can't shy away from the defense, man. It's early for Tyleek, exactly like what Bees said, man. It's early. He's got to get his feet rolling. We don't have a veteran guy outside of DJ Reader on the interior, and look, Tyleek's going to be fine when he gets an opportunity and more time, which that's just what it takes, right? Opportunity and time. Our defensive ends today both of them got shut down, and that's not good, right? If Aiden can't win and Davenport can't win, I don't know anybody that can win, and that's. I can't wait. Let's just put it this way: I can't wait to get into the film, which should be out tomorrow, and see what really happened. We'll be doing a members only film review probably on Wednesday this week. Members only film review. So. Thanks for the call, Wick, man. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. All
right, buddy. What did you want to add to that? We've got another caller that keeps trying to call. But hurry up, sneak it in. Go ahead.
Yeah, just was, right there with the stats, looking at Montgomery's stats, 11 carries, 25 yards. And last year, it felt like Montgomery was the starter, right? You'd start the game with him, and by the time Gibbs came up, it's like the oven's preheated, man, and you're just rolling. And they switched it today, and neither of them had much success in it. But I think for the reasons we, kind of hit on there, losing Ragnow hurts. It does. But, there's time for these guys to try to.
The Lions, Brett, we got dominated.
I keep thinking that my phone's not connected, and it's absolutely connected. That's why we're getting that overplay, if you will. My bad.
Okay, got you. No, it's all good. There's a bunch of things. I think it's great to be able to have the ability to, taking calls. And Will is always saying it's your guys' channel. We want to hear from you guys. Get your thoughts. Let's hear it.
Now here's another one.
Let's do it.
Rockhound Detroit Lions. What's on your mind? Are you there? Hello? Someone's there. Just can't hear him. All right. Well, whoever tried to call, just make sure you turn the background noise off. Make sure you turn YouTube off before you call. Can't have any of the background noise, otherwise it might interfere.
Might have been Coach Morton up in the booth.
He's not going to be happy when I get into the tape this week. When I'll have some things to say, I'm sure. I do want to try to look at some stats because someone just threw some stats in. Do you have the box stats handy, Riley?
Yeah, I do.
All right, here we go. There's nothing here. There's some offensive stuff here. So I'm trying to look on the next gen stats and some of the other more intricate stats, but they're not available.
Here's one that stands out to me. You had called before the game that Love would have less than 200 passing yards. Well, he did. In fact, the Lions had exactly 200 passing yards. It just sucks that was
all that was needed.
All they needed and more. Yep. Rushing yards, the Lions come out of this game with only 46. That's just, I would have bet it. I would have said it was more likely that one of Montgomery or Gibbs, probably Gibbs, but one of them, I would have thought it would have more likely that one of them will have a single play that goes for 46 or more, as opposed to the whole rushing unit combining for 46. They just got shut down.
Yeah, so let me run through a couple of things here, which obviously a great call. One of the Rocks locks was right this week. The main one was Love under 200, or actually was the under of under 238. And then Gibbs to score the first TD for the Lions didn't happen, but Isaac Tesla did. That's great. I'm glad that he did. I'm just not glad that it happened at the very end and that we couldn't score any other time in between. Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 fantasy points. Not that matters. 10 targets, 10 receptions tonight. He didn't drop a pass. But you know what I saw? Just about every single one of those passes was behind the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
You're not going to do any damage behind the line of scrimmage. This is not an offense that is set up to do that yet. 31 yards, only 3.1 yards per touch. Yeah. No touchdowns, 7 yards on a long TD. Sam Laporta started to get active tonight, and when we started to pepper him downfield, oh my God, did it work? Why didn't we start earlier? Right? 9 targets, 6 receptions, 79 yards, 8.8 per touch, 32 on the long. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8.5 fantasy points, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 45 yards, not enough. Isaac Tesla, 1 target, 1 touch, or 1 target, 1 reception, 1 touchdown, 13 yards, 8.3 fantasy points. David Montgomery, 8.3 fantasy points with 4 targets, 4 receptions, 18 yards. And Jameson Williams, the new $27 million bag owner, 6.6 fantasy points, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 23 yards. Not good. The fact that J-Mo only had 23 yards tonight is a bit, it's fascinating. Number one, it's appalling. Number two, the thing that I am most interested in is rushing. So on the ground tonight, the Lions did it again, but it wasn't enough. Josh Jacobs only had 66 yards on the ground tonight, but he had more than all of the other Lions running backs combined. Jahmyr Gibbs had 19 yards. David Montgomery had 25. And on the end around, Jameson Williams had 3. This was probably the worst display of a rushing attack that I've ever seen. Jordan Love, 188 yards on the night tonight, 16 of 22, 2 TDs. And Jared Goff, 225 yards on the night tonight, 31 of 39, 1 TD, 1 interception, 4 sacks. 4 sacks for Jared Goff. The sacks are just as bad as an interception to me. Not all of them his fault. On the defense, anything you want to add to that, Riley?
No, it just it tells the story, right? Yeah, it's just mind-boggling that I think not only is it Gibbs gets 10 receptions, 9 carries, right? So he touches the ball 19 times, and not one time did we see him break loose at all. That just, I don't know if that'll ever happen again. And guys are entitled to not have a great game. That's fine, but just weird. Nothing worked today, it felt like.
Yeah. Vanilla, right? I mean, when you go back and look at how many times they peppered Gibbs. All right, let's try this call one more time. Thank you for calling Rockhound Detroit Lions. Who do I have on the line?
This is Joseph C.
Joseph C., what's happening, brother? How are you?
Not much. Doing all right. Not doing too good. Lions lost.
Yeah, that's never good. That's never good. But what did you take away from the game tonight? What are the biggest things on your mind about what happened or didn't happen?
Well, I didn't care too much how they played Hutch and Davenport, and how they had them set back. But and another thing is, like, when they was in the red zone, the few times that they were, I felt like they should have had Tesla in there. Like a big body. I don't understand the reason for not having a big body like him in there to where they could have, someone to that could, catch a pass that towers above everybody else.
Yeah, I got you. You mentioned Davenport and Aiden Hutchinson. So let me preface this a little bit. I've been talking about it this week. I haven't heard anybody else say it, but I figured that Hutch and Davenport were going to get locked into containment, and they weren't going to be getting after the quarterback as much, and that we were going to see the rest of the blitz combinations coming from the backers, the nickelback, obviously the strong safety and Brian Branch, and that's kind of what we've seen tonight. It just there wasn't enough, and what I didn't expect was Davenport and Aiden to be downfield in coverage. That to me is you're asking for trouble.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're asking for trouble there.
That's way too far back there.
Yeah. So anything else on your mind?
But yeah. Well, it seemed like they didn't have too much of the when the runners was running. It seemed like they was left all to themselves. There wasn't nobody like run blocking for them most of the time.
Yeah.
Did it seem that way to you?
Yeah, no, it did. And again, I got to watch the tape. So without watching the tape, it's kind of hard to, I guess it's kind of hard to deduce what the Lions were doing wrong. But I will say this. Again, I'll go back to what I said with Wick is the inside zone game is highly dependent. And even the outside zone game is highly dependent on the center. And that center getting up into the second level or the, pulling guard getting in, to the outside, sealing off that linebacker. None of that happened today. I didn't see any of that going on. So let's just hope and pray that they were sandbagging for Chicago and thought that they were going to have enough to beat the Packers tonight, and they didn't.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, Joseph, I appreciate you calling, buddy. Have a good night, and we'll get a W next week.
All right, thank you. You too.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Yeah, that's
Davenport and Hutch downfield. Like, what the F? Riley, what is Kelvin Shepard thinking?
I don't know, man. I mean, I started looking at some of the things that have happened over the last, I don't know, month or whatever it has been. If I just said, hey, and then they're all reasons for him, but what's the one thing that is most unlikely, right? That Hasening gets cut from the practice, or I mean from the roster, obviously due to injury, or if it were Ragnow retiring this offseason, or if it were you get Davenport and Hutch back, and this is how they're employed. There's so many things that you think and then you're surprised by something that happens, and if it works, then it's a brilliant call, and it's, oh man, this guy's here, he's ready, he's going to be even better than Glenn. I still feel like he has the opportunity to do that, but just put it up there with some of the things that I did not foresee coming. And it wasn't like Hutchinson was due to just, hey man, his first game back he's getting 8 sacks, but because of how he was talked about during training camp, he's even better than he was. Maybe the expectation was that he was going to be incredibly disruptive today, and it didn't happen. And it was unusual to see some of the ways that these guys were employed today.
Employed. That's rough. Oh man, I'm surprised that I even put up any. I was looking at my fantasy teams for a moment. I'm surprised that I even put up any points. Couple of teams got me, but overall not terrible. Man, I'll tell you what. Let's take a look at the defense. Jack Campbell, leading tackler on the team tonight. 9 tackles, 5 solo. No TFLs though. Not one forced fumble, by anybody tonight. Jake Bates, had a solo tackle tonight. Let me go to the top of the list. Can I whittle this down? Why is it not? For some reason, this one does not let me whittle it down. Derek Barnes, 6 tackles. Brian Branch had 5. Terrion Arnold had 6. DJ Reed had 5. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 1. Alex Anzalone had 4. Amik Robertson had 3. Marcus Davenport, 3 tackles, 2 solo. I'll get into pressure stats here in just a moment if they're actually up. Tyleik Williams, 2 tackles, 1 solo. You know who's not on this list? Guess who's not on this list?
I'm going to cheat and look at it.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Hutchinson.
He has 0 stats.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that when I was saying, he's not necessarily going to come back and just dominate. So no stats.
0. And the other guy that I said was going to be a problem, Edrin Cooper. Edrin Cooper was the leading tackler for the Packers tonight. Rashawn Gary, 1.5 sacks. Devonta Wyatt got a sack. Evan Williams, the other guy that I said's a problem, he was in all over the field. Luca Van Ness had half a sack. Micah Parsons had a sack, even though it was a cheap-ass sack. But they also created a lot of TFLs. Remember how I say the TFLs are always more important than sacks? The Packers put up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 TFLs tonight. 9 TFLs. And we had the worst running game that we've ever had in Detroit over the last 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that people like to second guess, the things that I feel are going to work and things that I've known that have worked for a long time. You guys are seeing it come to life. It just worked against us. It worked against us because the Packers were able to execute and we did not. TFLs matter, man. They really do. Let me see if I can find any pressure stats. I don't think that there's going to be anything available.
Yeah, those, you mean the the TFLs that, what was the, finally the Lions get a stop, and then there's their Green Bay's punter. I don't know the guy's name off the top of my head. I should look that up here real quick. The dude's an awesome punter. I mean, he was balling today. Daniel Whelan. The Lions finally get a stop, and then, first play, you lose 7 yards, and it's almost a safety. Now all of a sudden it's 2nd and 17, and it's just, it's like they are taking the bullets out of your gun. You're just like, they're rendering you useless. Now you just have to do a little dive to Montgomery. And at that point, it's like, dude, they had us pinned. They got us beat. And that TFL, it goes a long way, man. It's 9 to the Lions only had 2. And you're right. I do see Aiden Hutchinson's name in the box score, the last name listed, and it's because he registered snaps, 0s across the board. Did not expect that from Hutchinson.
No, definitely didn't expect that after this Hutch rule.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I think it was Mason H that said in the chat too, and it's a great thing. Like, I didn't buy the hype on that, which I agree with. Hutchinson can obviously still be. He is a very good football player, and he has potential to be even better than he was in time. But to expect him to come back, and it's like, why would you? I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to buy that, because what are the chances that he's really, they're talking about him today. Like, the player that they were describing does not have a 0 across the board in the stats. He has something.
Mm-hmm. Well, they made Jordan Love look like an all-pro tonight. I'll tell you what.
That's what the fear was. I was talking to my brother-in-law last night about it. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, and you know what? Matthew Golden, 2 catches, 16 yards, But it was just Jordan Love. That was like the Thanksgiving game. I mean, he was throwing tight spirals. Just, he's out there like, making it look really, really easy.
The Trace just brought this up in the chat, the BS call on Hutch. So I was livid on Twitter, and I said, I get so sick of the narratives. You guys know me, but for Jim Nantz, 2 things that happened tonight. Him and that other knucklehead, that former Cowboy, Troy, what's his name? Troy Aikman? No, not Troy Aikman. Tony Romo. Talking about Hutch when he got that penalty. Well, it's like they clipped this very perfect bit of video to show that Aiden Witten and hit Jordan Love. And, it's like he was seeking and trying to destroy Jordan Love or whatever he said. He was trying to seek him out. No, Jordan was breaking towards Branch, and Aiden just gave him a shove. If I was Aiden, I would have put his ass on the ground. I would have taken him out. If you guys remember last year in the Washington game, Jared Goff kind of did the same thing. He was angling towards where the ball was going, and then all of a sudden he gets clipped, but he took a helmet to the chin, was concussed, had a cut under his chin, no flag, nothing. That dude should have been ejected. In tonight's game, Aiden gave the dude a love tap, literally. Like
Jordan Love.
Like quit running at my dude. You know what I mean? Now, if Jordan would have been going the other way, because the rule is if you assert yourself as a blocker or if you assert yourself as a tackler, you are involved in the play and you are just like any other number on the field.
Yep.
If you just sit back and do nothing and you walk the opposite direction, which as a quarterback you should just start walking the other way. Your teammates aren't going to care. They're not going to think you're any less of a man. They want you in the game the next play, not taking a huge hit from somebody else. So he absolutely was heading, to try to make the tackle. And that was on the interception throw. So, yeah, the fact that they called out Aiden like he was trying to seek out Jordan Love and pushing this narrative was absolutely a legal play. Absolutely a legal play.
It's so frustrating, the commentary, the narrative. It's like Making a Murderer, that show, where they splice it just right and they add a little bit of intense music, and it's, wherever you stand on that case, it can be so persuasive if the media says, look at this, but they only show you part of it. And Hutchinson, it's not like he has a history of, headhunting and seeking guys out. Why? The dude just came back from, getting injured. And like you said, Will, you subject yourself to whatever, the outcome would have been. It could have been a lot worse, but that was so frustrating just given the circumstances of the play before, where Anzalone dropped a pig, and then it's like, oh, it's cool. Branch, made up for it. Oh, we got a touchdown. No, not only did none of that come true, Green Bay got a first down, and it just snowballed.
All right, phone lines are done. It's 9:00. We'll be done here in just a few more minutes. I want to go through a couple quick more stat lines. We won't have any pressure stats that I can see until probably tomorrow. Tonight, Jared Goff averaged 3.3 yards in the air per completion from a year ago. Led the league in the most explosive pass plays. How do you go from the most explosive pass plays in the league to 3.3 yards per attempt? Or per completion?
That is where you're saying like it was almost like a preseason game,
because it was worse than a preseason game.
It's the opposite end of the spectrum. It's like, how does that happen?
Yeah, Jordan Love was the most successful attacking the intermediate zones, 10 to 19 yards. Now, didn't we just have a conversation on that the other day where I brought in Jordan Love's passing lane? And I said, hey, take a look at Jordan Love's passing lane from last year. This is where he's going to throw the football. Well, if you look at it again, that is where he threw the football. Exactly what we spoke about, the research that we did is right here. Let me bring it up here. Oh, why does it do that? It was just fine. I feel like a 2-year-old some days with this thing. I really do. It's like everything works, and then all of a sudden, like one thing gets changed, and then everything just goes haywire. Part of the reason is I'm using a different screen right now. All right. So, if you can see in the middle here, this is Jordan Love's passing lane. Okay, so he peppered all these intermediate routes from 10 to 19 yards. Right here down this right hash, right? On the left side, it's like in a straight line. You can see where he loves to put the football. Very few behind the line of scrimmage tonight. And then that one deep shot, that was the miscommunication by Terry and Arnold and Kirby Joseph. I would love to see what happened there. And then if you look at the one to the left, this is Jared Goff. Like, you're looking at this like, oh my God, you threw that many passes and hardly any of them went more than 5 yards. What are we doing? This is not Detroit Lions football at all. This is not the West Coast offense. This is not dinking them and dunking them downfield. But that's what you put on the field tonight. Pretty pathetic.
Being down significantly, fairly significantly, right?
That's probably the thing that worries me the most, is that you're down and you're not even trying to get back. You're not even throwing the ball up. So anyway, terrible game. It's game one. It's the first week of the NFL season. 16 teams won and 16 teams lost, and your Detroit Lions happen to be one of them. It did not look good from start to finish. There was some things in there that maybe get you a little excited, and then there's a lot of things that I mean, as a Lions fan, you're probably saying, oh no, not again. I'm going to throw it in the dirt, man, just like I do with all these games where we lose. I'm done with it. It's obviously we're going to talk about it for a couple of days, but by Wednesday, I'm done with it, and we're going to put it away. This is a game that you don't even want to go back and look at, because there's really not a whole lot that you can take out of it that was any good. So it is what it is, man. It's time to move on. We've got the Bears coming up, and that is a game we can't lose, especially at home. We can't open the season 0-2. And I swear to goodness, if they don't put the ball downfield in that game, we're going to have some trouble. Final 15, man.
Yeah, just an awesome day despite the loss. That's all of these are just little chapters in a whole book, and this was the first of hopefully 20 of them that we do this year. And we'll be right back here this morning or tomorrow morning, and just getting things rolling. Tough one to lose, but you take it on the chin and you just keep it moving, man. The Lions still have a lot of things to look forward to.
Are you jumping on tomorrow?
Eric's out of town, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll join.
Oh, well, door's always open. You just let me know.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that the stats will be out in the morning. Otherwise, it's I don't even know what we're going to talk about other than more of this stuff. I mean, I'll obviously dig into some stuff at 5:30 in the morning, but my final 15, man, is this simple. And that's it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys have a great night. Take care. All set. Bye-bye.
Pressured by Hutchinson.